Indiana. Their offense is high powered. Whether they have a superstar or not, they put points on the board and at a high rate.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the iCoaches Podcast. I'm your host. Playing hurt this week, Dr. Keith Adams. Voice has got end of school year teacher voice, and it's crazy at school. On today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, NBA Finals preview, and we got the full house tonight. Don't be a distraction, and the Commissioner Cup begins. So let's just get this out of the way. Mike King, congratulations on the Oklahoma City Thunder making it to the NBA Finals. Can you give your unbiased preview of the finals that begins this week?
First, grew up a Yankee fan. Baseball is my least favorite of the sports, but it used to be my favorite or one of top two. Grew up during the Yankee Jeter prime. Couple Giants Super Bowls in my lifetime, all four. Terps basketball. I think this OKC team is the best team I've ever rooted for, including the 98 Yankees. It is just, and I watched pretty much every game that was on television. That's not too many because the NBA was stupid this year. It's the first finals since 2007 where neither team played on Christmas because the NBA didn't know who they should be promoting and who they shouldn't. But this team just took every game like it was game seven. They got 11 guys who would start on
Yeah.
I don't know about 11 guys starting on other teams.
That's
what got him right there. The Lord said, no, no, no.
I ain't talking too crazy with that,
Jelly, and we're going to let Mike King resume his soliloquy.
They got 11 guys who could start on pretty much any team. They treat every possession like it's their last. The Pacers are a solid team. I look at them as kind of like OKC light. It's the JV version. We can go too big. I think this is a series like the Wolves series where Hartenstein gets 16 minutes a game. You give Casey Wallace, who I was talking about Casey Wallace on this podcast 8 months ago, explaining that he's going to be really good. And I think during this playoff run, him and Caruso, people are like starting to realize Casey Wallace, if he was on a bad team, he'd potentially be like a 18-point defensive shutdown guy. He'd like here, he gets his like 6, 7, 8 points because he doesn't play that much, but defensively he just dominates. I think that's what I would do. You're to start iHeart. They're not going to change their starting lineup, but Casey Wallace will get like 20 to 25 minutes. Alex Caruso, who could have been the MVP for the Thunder this whole playoff run just because of the things he's done defensively, he'll get his 20 to 25 minutes. The Pacers have no one to guard SGA. And if they do, Jalen Williams is starting to pick up his game. The Pacers haven't seen a defense like this. The Knicks were giving them a little trouble, and defensively, they stink. This is going to be completely different. Could the Thunder lose? Absolutely, but I would be beyond shocked because this team is just that good, and they're all back next year, and they're about to re-sign the 3 guys probably this summer, so they'll have this same group, the same core, and they're set to deal with this 2-apron nonsense because they could just put draft picks in and let the Lou Dorts of the world go. It's a masterclass in GM, coach, players, the whole thing. What can you say? OKC in 5.
Okay. Valorant. One, it's always good to talk basketball with you. A lot of Car Rides fans. But what are you thinking about series preview? Floor is yours.
History of winning.
I think it's going to be a good series, man. I think we are underestimating Indiana. Their offense is high powered. Whether they have a superstar or not, they put points on the board and at a high rate. I do think OKC can keep up with them. I think OKC's active hands can cause them problems. But again, it's going to be up and down, fast pace, and Indiana doesn't change their style for nobody. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a game where there's a blowout. You know what I mean? But I also wouldn't be surprised if Indiana wins two. I think they win 2, 3 games. I think at least 2 games. 3 might be pushing it, but I do think they can win 2 games. But yeah, I mean, their style of play is different than anybody that Denver. I mean, sorry, OKC has played in the playoffs. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I'm eager to see how this plays out, man. I'm eager to see how this finals plays out.
All right, Captain Cotton, what is your prediction, sir? What are you seeing?
Man, I really looking at OKC's schedule, how close this team was being the best regular season team in a long ever, period. I mean, there's some fluke games. I mean, they lost to Denver back to back. They lost to Los Angeles back to back. Like they lost to like Minnesota like 7 days apart. You know what I'm saying? This team is much better than a lot of people say. You know what I'm saying? I think like the Pacers are very good, but I think OKC is just above, like shoulders and heads are just so much better than this. I think it'll be a 6 game. I think it'll be a 6 game series. I think comfortably OKC will walk through and win just because what I'm looking at is there's really nobody that's walking into them. Now, I will say the one thing, they only played the Pacers once this year. So there's really no sort a lot of studying and back to back and things that you can say, oh, we're familiar with how they run, what their offense is, who's team players, things like that. I mean, you're on the playoffs now, so you should know stuff like that. But it's different when you've actually played that team like once before. You get a feel about them. With that said, I still think OKC should comfortably win by 6 games.
All right. So following, I want to talk about the teams that didn't make it. Um, I'm probably too hard on the Knicks because they're aesthetically just awful to watch.
Mhm.
But if you're the Knicks, what do you do? Because I don't think they're very good. I've said that all year, and I don't think they can get back to this level with everybody getting better in the East. What do you think about the Knicks this offseason?
It's two things. You either keep Tibbs and try to figure it out. I mean, I don't think you might, or not even just that. Like you can keep Tibbs, but they got to get some depth, and it's got to be somebody on the coaching staff that's willing to challenge Tibbs and understand. Like, look, we got to play our bench. You can't have five guys playing the whole season, six guys, and just depend on these guys to carry you throughout the season. Like it's just, it's not going to happen, man. And you're seeing it with OKC, and you're seeing it with Indiana. They have depth. You know what I mean? Like you need to have at least eight, maybe nine, eight, at least eight guys that you can rely on every single game. And I mean, when they start putting Shamit in there and throwing Dylan in there, like now you're just trying new things, and this is not the time. This is not the time. We should have did this 50 games in. You know what I mean? Like that's when I should have known. Like Shamit's been there all year. Like what?
Chuck, they switched the lineup in the post. What?
That's what I'm
I'm
confused
going to
about.
switch up.
We here now. I don't know what the rest of the coaching staff is saying, but we're here now. You only played six guys. We got to roll with the six guys. We'll figure the rest out after we go to the finals or this and that. But this should have been figured out months ago. It's too late to be switching. So they got to figure it out in the offseason. Like what is Tibbs going to do? Because that's this coaching style. You know what I mean? So as the general manager, is like, do you stay with that, or do you say, look, either I go a different route with a different coach, or Tibbs, we got to figure this bench out.
Now, Will Cotton, you're my captain. And yes, I screamed when I said they're switching the lineup. Tell me what you think the Knicks should do.
I think the thing that's going to excite the roster, even if it's just the core, whereas Jalen Brunson and Cat and Josh Hart, because I don't believe Mikal Bridges is really that much valuable in that decision. Go and get Giannis. Shake up this roster. Go get Giannis. Make a splash. Say, look, invested. We want to go. Like Fowler said, we can keep Tibbs, but he needs to change his mentality in terms of how we're going to work through the rosters in the season. If you want to run guys into the ground, get some guys in the roster and do it. Look, man, Shamit, no, you should have been playing in October, November. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like the guys like that. So you got to shake it up because at the end of the day, you're going to run into the same issues. Whereas, like, I'm just running guys into the ground, into the ground, into the ground, into the ground, and still at some point, Giannis would be one of those guys that could get them into that next step with the mentality of like, look, I've made it to the finals. I've won to the finals. You know what I'm saying? I've had success as an individual and as a team. bring them in. You're not losing much. I mean, you can trade a ton of guys and figure it out. That's what teams are doing. And he wants to leave. So it's going to be for the low. So it's just difficult because it really comes back to Tibbs. Are you going to be the guy that's going to change your mentality who say, okay, well, I'm going to play 9 games during this season, and then when I get to the playoffs, it's going to be 7 or 6 guys and move forward like that. He's never done that. Because why? People keep giving him money as he's some great coach, and he loses every time. All the time. I don't know. I don't know. They keep bringing him in. That's this great winner. He's not. They brought him into Minnesota. He didn't wear nothing. They in Chicago. Okay, he made it Eastern Conference Finals. Whatever. You ran Derrick Rose to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Bam got hurt because you ran him like it's like a 2004 BMW 750. Like you just ran him to the ground, drive him everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what they do. I think they should improve, upgrade. But it comes to Tibbs, and if Tibbs is going to run it the way he's doing, they're going to run into the same issues right here in May, June every year. So
Mike, you're my native, you New Yorker. What do you think about the Knicks?
They don't have Jalen Brunson. Everyone was trying to say was a superstar, but he's not like I'm gonna single-handedly get to the NBA Finals superstar. That's Jokic. That not maybe SGA. He's got a team, so it's hard to tell. But that's Jokic. He's not that. They don't have that. Very few teams have something like that. So you need an identity, and that's I think what this playoffs is proving in this new NBA where we don't have where you're not supposed to have super teams. It's really important to develop your players, and you need an identity. The OKC Thunder will play defense. The Indiana Pacers are going to move the ball. Everything's going to be quick. They're going to put up points. What do the Knicks do? They play 5 guys. That's what they do. We'll get to Minnesota next, and they've got their issues. But for the Knicks, they need to trade Bridges for like 6 first-round picks, but the only team stupid enough to do that is them. So they're not going to get that done. So how are you going to trade? Even if they got Giannis, I think that's like a Band-Aid on a bigger problem, which is I don't think they know what they are.
I don't think they have enough to get Giannis, but
they don't.
Yeah.
All right, following Minnesota, they shoved Anthony Edwards down our throats, and we all like, what are you doing? And Will Cotton has just thrown Julius Randle and slurred his name all over the place.
Look, the man speaks for himself. I just painted the picture.
So if you're Minnesota, you're not getting this far again. It's not. Everybody's getting better. What are you doing if you're Minnesota?
I'm okay.
Okay.
It's shocking. I'm okay with Minnesota. And again, we got to realize they lost to probably the team that's going to win the finals. They lost to Dallas last year, who went well. That's a whole different story. I think Anthony Edwards got fatigued last year, and it showed. And he came back in better shape this year, and it showed. I mean, I've seen him picking up SGA full court. There's no star like that picking up another guy full court like that. And again, he said it. He's just got to get better. I think it comes down to coaching. I think they got to use their players better. I think Anthony Edwards cannot bring the ball up the court and then like he has to be able to work on the low block. He needs to be able to work on the elbow. So this is how he matures. You know what I mean? He's only 23 years old. So the team they just beat Luka and the Lakers. They just beat who they beat before that?
Golden State.
Okay. Now Steph was out. I will say that, but again, again you got to I know Will doesn't like Randall, but you got to resign him. You got to resign him, and yes, you got to resign him, and then you just find ways for Anthony Edwards to, because again, the way they defended him, it was marvelous. Like they shut him down, made it to the point where he couldn't even be selfish. You know what I mean? Like he's only shooting 7, 8 shots going into the half. That makes no sense. So I don't think you need to dismantle the team. I don't think you can make a couple minor changes, but you got to find ways to use Anthony in different ways. He can't bring the ball. He can't be a point guard. Conley is there. I don't know why he's bringing the ball up. Now you get him coming off a low block, and now you get him coming off and catch. Like, look at what they do with KD. His mid-range game, all that stuff needs to be in effect. And it's like catch the ball at the elbow. Now everybody is one pass away. Instead of you being at the 3-point line or at the half court and they double team and now you get the ball out your hands, you can't get it back. So it's just, I think it comes down to coaching. That's it.
All right. Go ahead, Will. If you're Minnesota, what do you do?
I'm with Valorant. I think you got a good team that you got right now. I mean, people give Julius Randles, including myself, who give him a hard time, but the guy does put he's a consistent kind of player. He can give you on a bad day, give you 10 and 10. Call it is what it is. He can give you a double double. Like Fowler said, I think you got to figure out with the relationship with Mike Conley because that's a spot that you can actually get a really good point guard who can change the game and make it more dynamic in terms of your playmaking if you got rid of him. And that's difficult conversation, but they got to do that. Yeah, they just got to be more. They got to just mature. I would say. I think the best thing is they got to mature. I mean, every year they get a little better. I think the biggest and they're not afraid to make big risks. They got rid of Cat for Julius Randle. You're not, that's a big trade if you think about me in terms of things. You know what I'm saying? So you're not scared of risk. So I'm with Fowler. Stick with the roster you got. Keep pushing. Try and figure it out what you're going to do. I think you got to change Mike Conley in terms of where he is. Maybe even get rid of him, cut him, put him down in the roster. I mean, he ain't a Hall of Fame, so I mean, you can let him go. It's all good, and he's not a Wolves for life kind of thing. So it's not a big thing. They can let him go. But I agree. I think you stick with the team you got. You got a nice defensive team with they're long. They got length. They can play. They have a lot of diversity. They have a lot of agile. They can play. All of them can dribble for the most part, except for like Gobert. Stick with them. Why not? And if you think about it, if you didn't run into arguably the best third team in the last decade, you had a shot. So
Okay.
it is what it
And,
is.
and I will say this, just not to cut you. I'm a fan of Rob Dittingham. Don't be surprised if he gets a lot more minutes next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's young.
King, what do you
God.
think? What do you think on Minnesota?
I think Ant needs to get a mid-range game going because it would make him unstoppable. They were
Mhm.
able to stop him. Threw two guys at him at the 3-point line. When he got past him, the shot was there, but he wanted to go, try and dunk or do some crazy layup. And look at SGA's game. He gets a shot whenever he wants. You can't guard him because he just puts a shoulder into you, step back, and he's at the elbow. And for him, that's basically an 80% shot because he seems to make those things all the time. Ant doesn't trust that. He's chucking up threes, and in the playoffs, a lot of guys have been missing threes on all these teams. The lights are brighter, and all of a sudden, 3-point. You see a lot of these like great shooters become, eh. If he's going 1 for 7 from the line, and they're putting four guys out, like what's he doing? But the other part of it is he made the right decisions. The bums have to make
How to make
shots.
shots.
The bums have to make shots.
How
The
to
whole
come
point of
through.
that cat trade was they built their bench, and DiVincenzo for most of the games was awful. A lot of those guys, they had the one good game. The rest of the game, 3 of the 5 games, the guys coming off the bench were terrible.
All
Ant
right.
made the pass, they missed the shot. So I would say for him, if he develops a mid-range game, it would solve a lot of the problems, and then you wouldn't be. Then even a team like the Thunder would have trouble guarding him.
All right. Real quick for me, one about the Knicks. I'm an old guy. If your best player is a midget, you ain't winning no title. I'm in that school. Okay. Sorry. You can break it down if you want. You can throw out Isaiah Thomas. They're called outliers. Okay. But if you look at the history of the league,
Anomalies.
you gotta have a big dog and then little dogs. And again, on occasion, every 15 to 20 years, a midget to do it. But on a day-to-day basis, sorry, my best player is 6'4", 6'6". In high schools, we win. But I mean, Jalen Brunson is listed at 6'2". Okay. And then Minnesota, vice to Anthony Edwards from the old man, be boring. He's a little too much excitement for me. I just need you to play a little more and talk a little less. Just go play. I didn't say don't be you. I didn't say don't have a personality. I didn't say any of that, but you a little yak. And then when you play young legs and not old legs, you got slapped, kid. So go back to the lab, get better. And in segment 2, we'll try to talk about these distractions. We'll be right back. on the Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. I feel better. Welcome back to the Coaches Podcast. In segment 2, there is a new sheriff in town. Okay. I am so glad I have Fowler here, and I'm going to start with him. So, Fowler, in Denver has the new coach.
Mm-hmm.
You have played in a situation similar to this with a new coach coming in, and he's going to make some wrinkles and some changes, and he's talking about you got to be in better shape, et cetera, et cetera. What are you thinking about Denver's situation?
I don't know. It's different, man. I mean, you got a team that's been together. They won a championship together. But you're starting to see all these other teams and their style of play, and you got to ask yourself, do you need to change that style of play, or do you keep going with what you're doing? I thought they did well against the team that could possibly win the championship. Now they took them to a game 7. But again, you saw how that defense was stifling against Joker. So the team is fine. Again, Michael Porter wasn't healthy during that course. You know what I mean? So he
Is
didn't
he
play.
ever healthy?
Yeah, he's never healthy, but you paid the man. So you
And
got to
they
get him right.
dismantled the team, not me.
Mhm.
Denver's the one that got cheap. And
Yeah.
now everybody else is better. And you knife the coach and the GM in the back. And what are you going to do, man? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It's Denver's fault.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I don't know why you fire your coach at this point during the season. But I'm sure, and I hope they would talk to Jokic before that was done. But again, I just don't know what's going on behind closed doors. But as far as the roster, um, you figure out what's going on with Westbrook. I don't know what's going on with his deal. Um, you gotta believe in Murray and Jokic, that duo together. So. I don't know, man. Everybody's getting better, man. So I don't know. It's just it's difficult now. You know what I mean? It's difficult to get to that level where they were. I thought this year was their best chance. Now it might have to be in rebuild. You know what I mean? With Michael Porter, like you said, not being as healthy as we thought he would be. So you try to package him somewhere else, but it might be time to rebuild after that.
Okay. Mike, I'm giving you Phoenix. Outside of the no trade clause with Bradley Beal, how are you dealing with this offseason?
Trading everybody. Trading
Even
everybody.
Booker?
Anybody,
Even Booker?
anybody I can trade. Because
Wow.
we've talked about, I mean, we've talked about this. The worst thing you could be in sports is It's the worst thing you could be. And if you're in the West right now, you have to look at this like the Thunder are the youngest. They're the youngest 1 seed since last year when the Thunder were the youngest 1 seed, whatever.
Hmm.
They're bringing everyone back next year, and they're about to re-sign the core. Like, when are the Suns going to win? And if the answer's never, then trade everybody because they've already traded. They have no picks. They have no future. So you got to get a future again. Get rid of anyone you can, because otherwise you're just going to prolong the inevitable, which is you're not winning a championship, and that's what you're trying to do. So I think a lot of teams in the West need to take like a long look in the mirror and say like, can we beat the Thunder now in the next 5 years, and then can we beat the Spurs from 2027 to 2032? And I don't, and I would say for 95% of those teams that don't have a Jokic or maybe a Luka, you'd probably look at it and go, what are we doing?
All right. So, Will, I'm going to give this one to you, but I do want to hear from everyone. Now, as I tell people on the show all the time, I'm a social studies teacher. We are innocent until proven guilty, and we will allow the court system to do whatever the court system has to do. But Zion Williamson has a distraction issue. So, one, William, please once again give the advice to the audience from Tony Dungy. And two, how are you dealing with this situation if you're New Orleans?
It's kind of unfortunate right now. They should have traded him like a year and a half ago when they find out he was involved with a porn star. I mean, you can't have your you know what I'm saying, the image, the person who's going to be the front face of your organization dating with a porn star when they're married. I mean, that looks awful. I mean, that look terrible in terms of how people are going to invest. I'm not going to get my son a jersey if I hear that he's some kind of jerk. You know what I'm saying? I don't. And again, on top of that, he doesn't play. You know what I'm saying? Tony Dungy, I mean, he has some great rules. You know what I'm saying? But I just think right now it's like dude came into the league with the issue. He came in with the can't, with the weight issue. Guys were cooking him in terms of what he was wearing, his outfit. Now he's with women that he shouldn't be with, and he's married. I mean, the guy is just not mature enough to be your superstar, and that's what it is. You're not mature enough to be our. You could be our second role guy. You could be our third guy, but you can't be our first guy if you out here doing all kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Ant change some things. He immediately, people start getting wind off like, oh, we have six baby mamas, all this stuff, da 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 da. All of a sudden, it got very quiet. He paid everybody off. He did what he had to do. Things are very quiet, and they want him to move forward and think. Zion, it just comes to things where it's like, dude, like I can't market you if you're not a good person at minimum. I can't sell Zion jerseys when you're with a porn star. I can't, you know what I'm saying, when you're out of shape, I can't sell Zion Williamson. I can't sell Zion Williamson when he's not playing. I can't see him doing the things that he needs to be doing, jumping, dunking, 360, all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And now you're in a position now where I can't even trade him for like a paint like a can of paint. Can't trade him for nothing. He's untouchable in my opinion. So again, this is just another situation of New Orleans who hold on to superstars way longer they should until they don't get nothing back because that's just how the organization runs. So they'll have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure at some point Zion will get traded. I'm sure his whole image will get cleaned up. If this, as long as this is not true, he will become a viable player, all-star on whoever gets him. But New Orleans, he's useless in my opinion.
All right. So, following, you have been scrutinized. You have been under a watch. You have had every little thing you've done magnified, and you are a high school. This guy has taken all types of liberties the last 5 years, 6 years, whatever it is, and there's no winning. If you're a New Orleans situation, well, what are you doing, man?
So at this point, I mean, they've had many talks, many sit down talks. And it comes to a point where we sit down and talk, and I say, look, man, I just need you to lay low, focus on basketball. And I'm sure they've had this conversation many a times, you know what I mean? But the guy's gonna do what he wants to do. But this is it. You can't trade him right now. Nobody's gonna want to take him. So at this point, he's obviously not the face. He cannot be the face of your team. You got to find a way to get either CJ McCollum or DeJounte Murray. Like these guys, I'm promoting these guys they're going to schools, they're doing all this stuff to be the face of my team. But I need Zion because I need him to produce, and that's how our team is going to be good. They have the pieces around them. Obviously, with Murray injured, that hurt them a lot this year. CJ comes back next year. Just need Zion to play. We need all this stuff to just eventually just go away. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's not true. And if it is true, then yeah, he's done. He's done. But we got to focus on basketball, man. We can't have all these distractions and this weight stuff and you dealing with your injury. Like we just got to focus on basketball and get you right. And then yeah, it might be to the point where I build him up to be tradable. You know what I mean? Where I don't want to deal with this anymore. Or it might be like, you know what? We'll let all that go. You get us to a playoffs, we reconsider things. So I just don't know what you do at this point.
All right, King, got the last word before I close out.
I mean, in sports, you have to wait till it plays out. There's been plenty of people who have been accused of plenty of things, and it's been found to be not true. If it's true, regardless, again, then the basketball doesn't even matter. It's obviously the crime, but because you're always injured, because you're not always fit, you put yourself in a position where is it worth the hassle, even if it's not true, just this extra stuff? When you're a superstar, the teams are going to go out of their way to try and work around things. When you're always hurt and you haven't lived up to the hype, it just seems like another New Orleans kind of what Will was saying. New Orleans always waits too long. They don't get out of it at the right time, and they're always bad.
Yeah.
They gotta change things top down. They got to change the whole program, because even without this stuff, you've had multiple top draft picks and you've had them in the right years. Because in the NBA, it's not about getting the number one pick. It's about getting the number one pick when it's Zion, when it's Anthony Davis, when it's whoever. And you've done that. And you're always bad. At least the Wizards can say, the NBA screws us. Every time we should get the top pick in a good year, they give us 6. And every time we shouldn't get a top pick in a bad year, they give us 1 or 2. At least the Wizards have an excuse. The NBA's fixed. They don't care about the Wizards. New Orleans has gotten the gifts, and they've screwed it up every time.
Yeah. All right, to close, my players know what I'm going to say. After reviewing your contract and seeing how I can get out of it right now, we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. It's not going to cost me money because this is the year I can get rid of you with no consequence. And yeah, you got to go because when you play, we win, but you don't play enough to deal with this. So I wish you well. Bless your heart. Thunder going to win anyway. We are nowhere near anybody else right now. So I've got to figure out what I'm doing. So yeah, it's time to go. And with that, in segment 3, Commissioner's Cup, WNBA, let's get it going. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast. Hi everyone, Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CK Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches Podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. It is Commissioner's Cup time, so let's explain the Commissioner's Cup. The Commissioner's Cup is presented by Coinbase, and it's the 5th annual in-season competition, and it starts this week. And here's what you need to know. It is East versus West from June 1st through June 17th. Each team will compete with their respective conference and play one game against each team. This means that a total of 5 games for the Eastern Conference teams and 6 games for each Western Conference team. And throughout the tournament, teams will accumulate donation dollars for charitable organizations of their choice. Based on the tournament record, the top team from each conference will then compete in the Commissioner's Cup Championship presented by Coinbase on July 1st. The winners not only take home the Commissioner's Cup's trophy, but a share of the $500,000 prize pool. So now, fellas, 2 questions. 1, who's going to win? And 2, with Caitlin Clark injured, who are you going to push so we can get more names out there while Caitlin's sitting on the sidelines? Mike King, I'm going to start with you. Who's winning? And who are you pushing that's not named Caitlin Clark because she's out the next few weeks with an injury?
Well, first, the charitable organization they could donate to, could they give it to the WNBA? Because they lost like $40 million last year.
Mike.
Sorry. Who's going to win? I'll go, I guess, New York. I'll go with them, even though what's her name was just criticizing SGA during a press conference. I saw that going around Twitter, and now I hate her beyond belief. Trying to criticize his fouls. He gets fouled because he knows what he's doing. So I'll say New York. And then who should they promote? You instead of picking some, why not promote everybody? Like, well, why pick? But if they're going to pick someone, promote the best player because you haven't done a good enough job doing that. And Asia Wilson's been the best player for 4 years. So spend all your time promoting your best player. That's what I'll go with.
Following, who's winning and who are you pushing to get your names out there?
I just watched New York beat the mess out of Connecticut today. By about 50 points. And I saw him play the other day. They are, with add Natasha Cloud, they are by far the best team in the NBA, WNBA, excuse me. So I got them winning. I want to say I do agree with Mike. They should be promoting Asia, but that's throughout the season.
Mhm.
But I do think you got to promote somebody from the best team, and I think Sabrina should be promoted. I mean, again, she's a known figure, and everybody knows who she is. But now with Caitlin out, I think Sabrina, she's playing well right now. She's on the best team. She has her own signature shoe. She has everything. You know what I mean? She has everything that you need to promote and keep that WNBA figure going. So I want to say just you got to go with AJ and Sabrina.
All right, Cotton Man, who's winning and who are you promoting?
Man, to be honest with you, I didn't even know this was going on. The WNBA needs to spend some money and put out some marketing joint and let people know nobody going. Bro, it's golf, MLB, and a couple NBA with the finals, and it's every other day. Nobody's really pressed with NHL. Why does anyone know this is going on? I didn't know it was going on.
That's why we do the show, baby. That's why we do the show.
This is the first I've heard of this. This is amazing. I'm gonna go with Mike King. I think the Liberty needs to win. I think you should still push the names that have got you where you go. Push Caitlin Clark. I don't care if she's playing or not. She's gonna play at some point. I don't care if she's gonna play at some point. Why not? She'll play at some point. Caitlin Clark is going to play at some point. Get it.
Oh.
Sabrina, I think she get out there. Stewie, you know what I'm saying? Get him out there. You know, the names that people know. You know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, we still show NBA commercials with Joel Embiid. That Batman played in November. You know what I'm saying? You still show commercials about Kawhi. The Batman's a part-time NBA player. You don't never play no more. LeBron James, 40 years old. It doesn't matter who you play. People need to see the name. So when I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking up for the boys or doing whatever, and I see a commercial, I see, oh, Caitlin Clark. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Angel Reese. Oh, this is so. Yeah, oh, this is happening? Okay, I'm gonna watch that. It don't matter if it ends up being who ends the person. It's just promote the names that people know. Because I didn't even know this was going.
All right.
Give me the liberty, baby.
So as we close, one, I got Minnesota winning. I'm going to go counter. And two, three people that we need to flood TV with while Caitlin's out. One is Georgia's girl, Kelsey Plum. I think LA needs something going on. Two, Nafisi or Collier, because of not only what she's doing on the court, but off the court. And three, I don't think Paige is getting the love that Paige needs to get that Southern. So as you see, I'm looking west. I got a Northern team, and I've got a Southern team because New York should be New York. So that's how I'm booking it if I was going to book it, because Caitlin Clark will be back, but we've got 3 weeks of basketball, and she ain't going to play in maybe 2.5 weeks of it. So
I told Rebecca Lobo show up. Show everybody show. It don't matter. Promote everybody, bro.
It's hard to promote everybody.
Cheryl Swoop's coming back.
Hey, yo.
Everybody, bro.
Booking 101, make me care.
Cynthia Cooper, man, I had to put all kinds of names.
All right. On that note, on behalf of my cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast. Also seen on the Cascade Sports Network. And we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at oddcoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.